Welcome to the deep dive.
Okay, so today we're jumping right into something pretty interesting and definitely relevant for you. Can AI actually predict cheating before it happens?
It sounds a bit futuristic, right?
It really does. But AI is everywhere now. Online tests, gaming, banking, you name it. So the idea that it could anticipate cheating, well, something we probably need to understand.
Absolutely. And it's already being looked at in areas where catching dishonesty early is, crucial. Think about fair play in online games or financial security.
Yeah, or even just keeping academic tests honest. Stuff that really affects people.
For sure. The technology is moving fast in this direction.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is really to get under the hood. How does this predictive AI actually work? And importantly, what are the big questions around it? Guiding us today is Dr. Sarah Mitchell, an AI researcher from Stanford University. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. It's definitely a conversation worth having, especially as these tools become more common. It's important for you, the listener, to be aware. So let's start with the here and now. We often hear about AI catching cheaters, after the fact. What are some solid examples of how it's being used for detection right now?
Sure. Well, detection is quite established in some areas. In online education, for example, you've got tools like Proctorio.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Right. They analyze things like eye movements, maybe your head position during an online exam, looking for behavior that seems, unusual.
Suggesting you might be looking away at notes or something.
Exactly. Or in gaming, you have platforms using AI to scan live streams. They're looking for cheat codes, unfair mods being used in real time.
Okay. And finance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Banks have been using AI for a while now, haven't they? Spotting strange transaction patterns that just don't fit your normal spending habits. Fly out potential fraud almost instantly.
Right, so that's mostly catching things as they happen, or just after. But this idea of predicting it before it even occurs, that feels like a much bigger leap. How does AI go from spotting to, forecasting?
That's where predictive analytics comes in. You could sort of think of it like AI attempting to be a digital crystal ball.
Okay, a crystal ball based on data.
Exactly. It works by sifting through massive amounts of historical data, looking for really subtle patterns, correlation, or dishonest behavior in the past.
So it's learning from history to guess the future.
In a way, yes. The underlying idea is that certain shifts in behavior, deviations from a baseline normal, might indicate a higher probability of someone acting dishonestly soon.
Can you give us a concrete example? What might that actually look like for, say, a student?
Okay, sure. Imagine you're taking online courses, submitting work through a platform. The AI might be tracking your typical interaction style.
Like typing speed, mouse clicks.
Yeah, exactly. So if suddenly your mouse movements become, really rapid and jerky, or your typing rhythm changes dramatically from your usual pattern, the system might flag that. Not necessarily saying this person is cheating, but flagging it as potentially suspicious activity based on past correlations.
That definitely brings up that feeling of, is this really cool or is it kind of creepy?
There's the tension, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can see the upside, right? Preventing academic fraud, maybe stopping financial scams before they hit you, but being flagged because your mouse moved weirdly, that's
a bit much. Yeah. And that's precisely where you hit the ethical concerns. The potential for prevention is appealing, but it throws up huge red flags.
Like false positives.
Exactly. False positives are a major one. What if you're just stressed? Or having tech issues? Or maybe just having an off day? An innocent behavioral change could lead to you being flagged, maybe even penalized unfairly.
And who decides what's suspicious anyway? That seems pretty subjective.
Very subjective. And context dependent too. So the definition itself is a challenge, alongside the risk of misinterpretation by the AI.
Which leads into the bigger ethical minefield, I suppose? Privacy, bias.
Absolutely. These systems rely on collecting vast amounts of data about behavior, which immediately raises privacy concerns. How much tracking is too much? Where is that data stored? Who has access?
Right. And the bias issue. How does that play out here?
Well, AI learns from data. If the historical data used to train the AI reflects existing societal biases, the AI will likely learn and perpetuate them.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine an exam proctoring AI trained primarily on native English speakers. It might learn certain patterns of pausing or maybe looking away that it considers normal.
Okay.
But a non-native speaker might pause differently while thinking or look away more while translating in their head. The AI, lacking that context, could potentially flag them as suspicious more often, simply because their normal differs from the training data's norm.
Wow, yeah, that's a serious problem. Are there, rules or regulations trying to tackle this?
There are efforts. Things like GDPR in Europe or the CCPA in California, they try to put some guardrails around data privacy and usage. But applying them specifically to predictive AI in this context is still evolving.
So transparency is key then. Knowing how the AI makes decisions.
Transparency and accountability are crucial, but often these complex algorithms are like black boxes. Even the creators don't always fully understand why a specific prediction was made, which makes accountability really difficult.
Okay, so despite these pretty significant ethical hurdles, are there actual cases where this predictive approach has worked? Any success stories?
Yes, there are some notable examples where predictive methods seem to have been effective. You mentioned MIT earlier.
Right, the coding competition.
Yes, they apparently used AI analyzing pun submission patterns, timings, similarities to predict potential collusion or plagiarism before final grading, allowing intervention.
Okay, that's interesting.
And as we touched on, credit card companies, they've definitely had success using predictive models to spot potentially fraudulent transactions based on spending patterns deviating from your norm, often stopping fraud before it escalates. That directly benefits you as a consumer.
So definite potential upsides. But you also hear about things going wrong. Are there cautionary tales we should keep in mind?
Oh, absolutely. And these are critical for understanding the risks. There was a widely reported case involving a school. I believe they were using AI for online exam proctoring that claimed to detect anxiety.
Detect anxiety? How?
Apparently through analyzing facial expressions, maybe fidgeting, things the AI interpreted as signs of heightened stress or nervousness, which it then linked to potential cheating.
Uh-oh.
I see where that's going.
Right. A number of students were flagged, but it turned out many were simply experiencing normal test anxiety, which is, completely understandable.
So they were falsely accused based on being nervous.
Essentially, yes. It caused huge distress and highlighted the real danger of relying on AI to interpret complex human emotions and behaviors, especially without robust human checks. It's just not reliable for that kind of nuance.
That really drives home the point, doesn't it? That AI, no matter how smart it seems, is fundamentally a tool. It needs a human element.
Precisely. It needs human oversight, critical judgment, and context. AI can surface potential issues, maybe highlight patterns you wouldn't see, but it can't be the final arbiter.
Exactly. It shouldn't be the sole decision maker, especially in situations with high stakes for individuals like you. The goal should be augmenting human capabilities, providing insights, not replacing judgment entirely.
This has been really illuminating. It's clear this tech is powerful, fascinating even, but it's definitely not simple. It opens up a whole Pandora's box of questions. So for you listening, considering everything we've talked about, the detection we see now, the complexities of prediction, those real world hits and misses, it really boils down to this fundamental question. Should we be letting AI play cop, judge, and jury when it comes to predicting human intent?
It's a profound question, and one that doesn't have easy answers. It's going to require ongoing discussion as the technology evolves. Your input as a society matters.
Definitely something to chew on, and maybe something we'll revisit as things develop further.
I expect we will.
Absolutely. And just to leave you with one final thought to ponder, you talked about exams, finance, gaming, but think beyond that. If AI gets better at predicting behavior, what are the unforeseen consequences? And areas we haven't even discussed. How might that predictive power shape, our social interactions, our freedoms, even how we see ourselves and our choices down the line? Lots to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.